What's up YouTube, Jeff back again. Today another very exciting video for you guys, and today, yes, I have the iPhone Air in the studio. It's kind of the first video in the going back to other smartphone reviews era for me. If you guys saw the video yesterday, Sammy Guru has now kind of started its own channel, or I started a channel, and that's where all of our Samsung tutorial stuff will live. I'll drop a subscription link if you guys want to check it out, but we're going to be doing a lot of other hardware on this channel. And first up is the iPhone Air. Now, I'm very skeptical about this phone, just like I was about the Galaxy S25 Edge, which I also have here because I want to do a little comparison to the build in this particular video. But I'm kind of skeptical that these super thin phones are going to survive for very many years. And so as I do this little unboxing, I already took the little paper tabs off, just full disclosure. But I'm going to go through and get my first impressions because I haven't lifted the box up and actually went through. So let's go through and just get some impressions on the build here and how it compares to the Edge. Apple's boxes seem like they're a little stickier than they have been in past years. Also, just some anecdotal evidence. When I was picking this up at my Apple store here in Phoenix, the girl who was getting the products for me, I got this and I also got some Apple Watches as well. There's really nothing in here as usual, just a charging cable, which is actually, it seems like it's a nicer charging cable this time though. Let's see, is this braided? Yeah, it's a nice braided cable now. I don't think they were doing that even last year, but maybe I'm wrong. She was saying that this was only the second iPhone Air that she had delivered or given to someone, rang up, whatever, bagged it. And I picked this up at 1 p.m. Arizona time. So obviously a lot of people had come through this Apple store, and Phoenix is a big city. So let's take this off. This is always a nice sound. There we go. And so first impressions of this is, it's not crazy thinner. Obviously, if you've never held the S25 Edge, then this phone's going to wow you and you're going to be really impressed by it. But if you've held the S25 Edge, I don't know, it's not that much thinner than the S25 Edge. In fact, if you look at it with the camera module there, you'll actually kind of notice that it's really actually a little bit thicker, kind of, or appears to be around maybe the same thickness if you compare the two, because the Air definitely has a chunky camera module. Now, I don't know, the Edge is a little bit, you have to get calipers to actually measure that, which I'm not going to do in this video. Maybe I should do a short on that or something. But what I will say is Apple made some design choices that make this build feel a little more wow, I think. And that's why some tech journalists, a lot of tech journalists are saying, wow, this is such an amazing device. And actually, if you lay these down flat, I mean, really the millimeters, you can't really tell at all. They're kind of, you know, if I sit something on this, you know, flat, it's basically level. They're very close to the same thickness. But they did make some choices that make it seem a little more diminutive, maybe thinner, smaller, more compact, whatever. The screen size is slightly smaller, obviously 0.2 inches. There's one less camera on there. So even though this bump is kind of larger and, you know, it's more raised up across the top. Someone also asked me, is this going to stop the wobble? Well, no, but it's actually going to be a little bit less, I guess, if you're texting versus the Edge. I don't know, it's about the same, honestly. Maybe the Edge is a little bit worse, but it's not really a huge difference. But this camera module choice, the way it curves, you guys can see right here that versus the Edge, these sides are a little more curved. They're also polished, which I don't know if I really like that because it's going to get a lot more fingerprints. But this feels a little bit thinner in the hand just because of this curvature to it. At least that's my first impression, is that the fact that those edges are curved makes it feel a little bit smaller. Also, that 0.2 inches also makes a big difference. The interesting thing though is that the Edge is actually slightly lighter, and I can kind of feel that even though it's very close, like a gram, but maybe it's just the distribution, the fact that this has got a more surface area because it's got that larger screen, which you can actually see there if you put them side by side vertically. Now, obviously, there's a lot of other differences here, but the main concern that I have, and I'm going to boot this up because I'm going to put my SIM card in here, my eSIM rather, not a SIM card because it doesn't take a SIM card. What am I talking about? That's very annoying. I definitely don't like that. Samsung will probably follow suit with that very soon, which is going to really upset me. But I'm really concerned about these slim phones having longevity. Like I said, doesn't seem like a lot of average people are buying this. It seems like they're still going for the pros. One hypothesis that someone, or a lot of people have made actually, is that maybe this is just half of the iPhone Fold next year, which would be interesting if that was the case. If Apple just kind of slap another piece on this, and so 2 times this thickness will end up being the iPhone Fold, which would still be actually way thicker than the Galaxy Z Fold 7 by a couple millimeters. So if that's going to be their approach, they're going to be in a little bit of trouble in terms of the thinness race of, the form factor when it's folded. But one camera, essentially Apple marketed as 2 as the Fusion camera. It's not really 2 cameras, just because it can do, optical quality, quote unquote, digital zoom. You've got 2 real cameras on the S25 Edge. You got stereo speakers on here. Presumably probably some better thermal management. We'll have to see. There's a lot of things that are on this device. Bigger battery, but that might not matter for the chip optimization. But I'm kind of worried about the future of these super thin phones, whether they'll even be around in a few years. Because even though it's impressive, it's really going to come down to not the tech journalist, opinion of this, but the average person. How many average people want to buy a super thin phone for which then you may need to buy a $99 battery pack to really get the all-day battery life, which I did buy that, and I'll do some battery tests. But I just don't know. I mean, I'm going to do several comparisons with the Edge. Neither of these, also, if you take a look at this, I'm going to do a video on this, but look at the anti-glare screen on here. I don't know. It's not as anti-glare as my S25 Ultra for sure. You still get quite a bit of reflection. This one doesn't have anti-glare, obviously the Edge, but it really doesn't look like a massive difference between these two. Like if you put the Ultra next to the Edge, there's really a huge difference in the reflectivity. I mean, I can tell a difference over last year's iPhone. They definitely have that coating, but it's not the same as the built-in anti-reflective, glass that Samsung has with Corning. So, I think the Edge still has an advantage there. But I don't really know about either of these devices having long-term performance or sticking around for more than 2 to 3 years. Samsung and Apple are really betting on the aesthetics. And Apple even did, in my opinion, a great job marketing this phone. And yet people seem to still not be buying it. I'm curious what you guys think. Let me know what coverage you want to see me do here. This was kind of me just giving my thoughts. It is impressive. Don't get me wrong. It feels a lot smaller in the hand. And I think that's why it's like, impressing all the tech journalists. It does feel smaller, maybe just because of the screen size and the curved edges. But the S25 Edge does have a lot of advantages. So let me know what you guys want to see compared. I'll do the speakers. I'll do a display anti-reflective comparison of those. Some thermal comparisons as well. Of course, I'll have the iPhone 17 Pro Max. I'm probably going to switch to that for a week and do a comparison to my S25 Ultra and Z Fold 7. I have a bunch of other phones coming up. Xiaomi 17 Pro, Pro Max. Let me know what else you guys want to see me review on the channel. A lot of good stuff coming up. Check out the Sammy Guru channel if you guys are interested in the Samsung content. We'll have daily uploads over there. Appreciate you guys checking out this video. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching.